Hey, my friends, what's up? Good morning. And you know who this is once again, back at you with another video. Today, I want to comment on this whole Ben Carson situation and his comments about the slaves being immigrants. Now, when he made those comments, there were a bunch of liberals jumping all over him. And of course, you had your common liberals on CNN like Don Lemon and others that were just really going after him quite hard. Now, I find that very hypocritical, but I don't want to just talk about the hypocrisy. I want to talk about a much bigger issue. But before I get to the bigger issue, I got to spell out the hypocrisy first. And the hypocrisy is this, is that Obama actually said the same thing about slaves being immigrants. Don't believe me? Take a look.
It wasn't always easy for new immigrants. Certainly it wasn't easy for those of African heritage who had not come here voluntarily, and yet in their own way were immigrants themselves.
And now that you've seen the video, I want to get to that bigger issue I was speaking about. Now, we can have a legitimate discussion on whether or not it's appropriate to refer to slaves as immigrants. We can have a legitimate discussion about that. There's nothing wrong with that. But at the same time, if we cannot expect people to be treated fairly and honestly before we go into such a discussion, then how can we expect to have a legitimate discussion about that very issue? We gotta treat people fairly, and the fact is, Ben Carson and Obama said the same thing about immigrants, about slaves, and they looked at them in the same way. There was no difference between what Ben Carson said and what Obama said. Again, we can have a legitimate conversation about whether it's appropriate to refer to immigrants as slaves, or rather, I should say, slaves as immigrants. There's nothing wrong with that. Let's have a legitimate conversation about that. But we can't honestly expect to have a legit conversation if we don't treat people fairly first. If you're going to jump over Ben Carson for what he said, then you got to jump over Obama for what he said too. Where was the mainstream media when Obama said what he said about immigrants? Yeah, that's what I thought. And that's all I wanted to get to. That is the bigger issue here. Let's treat everybody fairly. If we want to get to that discussion, we can get to that. But let's deal with the hypocrisy first. And that's the most important thing. Well, thanks for watching, my friends. Please share this video, like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, take care, God bless, and peace.